Well, this one is a late night find. I was coming back home and I was thinking about this exact question. I'm gonna try to answer it today to myself and to you guys. So, the question is, why do we not fully inhabit our existence? Why do we always kind of look the other way when it comes to us existing in the present moment that we always exist in? It's a quite philosophical question. You can break it down many ways. The first most popular answer I would say will be that we've evolved to not take that perspective too much and not think about it too much. So, what I want to say by that is that we've evolved to not think about our present moment, about our own existence, because we have to care about threats and predators and all kinds of dangers surrounding us because we could have been dead very easily back in the day. Now it's different because you're in a safe box called home, called a house, apartment, whatever, and you don't have to think about any predator. I mean, most of the people, we don't have to think about predators. We don't have to think about many of the dangers that our ancestors have faced throughout the years, throughout the centuries, and we're free from all that stuff. And that means we can relax and we don't have to really care about it, which means we can focus more on the present moment, on our existence. But that is the problem because we've evolved to be this way. We're physically wired, mentally wired to be in that state of mind where we don't think about our existence that much and we focus on other things surrounding our life. Very interesting, but this really begs the questions, why can't we just let go and try to focus on more important things, more productive things, more inspirational things, and so on, art and poetry and some kind of creation that we're capable of, but we don't think about that. We think about some other things, or mostly just some weird dangers or mistakes we made in the past and bad relationships and what we're gonna eat tomorrow and so on. We just think about the most basic survival things or some embarrassing moments for some reason. That is a different Pandora's box that needs to be opened, but now we're specifically talking about why we focus so much on survival and we forget about our own existence so much of the time. And there are some other things as well. This was the most basic one, but we can go more philosophical on this one because it is quite a philosophical question, as I said at the beginning. We can also talk about our ego. We can talk about our identity. I mean, this is what I found online. I was really interested in this. How would other people answer this question? And now I'm trying to find my own answer to this. I mean, it's pretty true because so many people, including me, without really knowing, we kind of wire ourselves into an ego. We create a ball, and in that ball, we have our identity, our ego, our sense of self. And it's very hard, it's very uncomfortable to change it or to question it because doing that will almost certainly create a existential crisis, and most of us are not really ready to face it, or we just don't want to face it at all because it's not really comfortable, as I said. And it can be not only not comfortable, but it can be dangerous to ourself, to our personality, to our even to our body, because some people can get very like depressed, or they can get into this like weird panic state, panic mode, anxiety, and all kinds of things, depression, because they don't know what their identity is. They cannot really control their ego, or they have a low ego, so they kind of let people step over them and so on and so on, because we're in a society that is pretty hierarchical, so you don't really have a much freedom to kind of experiment on that front. You really have to set yourself up and push yourself into the hierarchy and push yourself into this pyramid scheme without really having a choice, because otherwise you're gonna be just used or pushed around and so on and so forth. We know that. That is something that has a lot of social factors in it, but also when you think about it, if we all let go of that thing, if we all let go of the ego, of the human hierarchy, and of the constant permanent identity that we have, we can maybe, just maybe, live more freely and be more thoughtful and give more attention to our existence, to our everyday life, because so easily we get into these loops, into these routines, and we forget about our own existence. And guys, our existence is so special. I don't even know if you realize how special our existence is, how free our existence is. And this begs another question, because freedom can be so good but also so bad. Because being free is like the best thing ever at the beginning, but eventually You want to be obligated to something. You want to feel like you are part of something, or that you have to do something to feel useful. But if you're free all the time and you're not really responsible for solving anything or doing anything specifically, then it's very easy to find yourself feeling useless. And that means you're gonna have some mental challenges, you could say. Your mental health can decline because you don't feel useful. And again, you're evolutionary wired to feel useful in a society, in a group of people. Because if you're not useful, then you're useless. And if you're useless, then your brain suggests that that is bad. Now, very simply explained, but it goes a lot deeper. I explained it the simplest way I could. But yeah, feeling useful is very important. And if you're free all the time and you have nothing to do, you could say, then you'll feel useless eventually. And when you feel useless, you'll either gonna do some stupid shit like drugs, or you're gonna try to distract yourself the whole time, be more hedonistic, if you want to say, because a lot of people that feel useless or that don't have any obligations, any responsibilities, they become very hedonistic. They go partying, they do drugs, they try to sleep with more women, they play video games, they gamble, whatever their soul desires, or whatever gives them a sense of purpose or a goal that would eventually distract them from the main thing, and that is that they feel useless or they don't have anything to do in their lives. That is one more point tackled, because freedom means you can do whatever you want and you can explore your existence to the level that has never been reached before, maybe. But in the same time, you're evolutionary wired again to feel useful, to be part of a society, of a running group. And if you're not feeling that way, eventually the loneliness is gonna stroke in, and the consequences are gonna be severe eventually. Maybe not directly, but eventually that's gonna lead you to a bad life, to a ruin, to a destructful lifestyle. And you don't want to do that. And maybe you can say, I'm different, I don't need people, I don't need to feel useful, but this is like very deep into your software. You can't really change it. You will be able to distract yourself for so long, but eventually it's gonna hit, and the consequences will be shown to you. And one of the biggest ones, I think, that is not really connected to natural existential causes is our lifestyles, our modern lifestyles. We live so much differently than our ancestors, and exploring your existence cannot be done if you're fully stressed out the whole time because you need to finish some project or you need to catch a deadline at your work or at school. Meaning that if you're under pressure the whole time, you cannot really ever fully explore your existence because you're distracted and you feel like you're gonna lose something if you don't do this. And we all know that when you're stressed out, you cannot even be creative because your brain kind of turns off every like recreational part of yourself and it goes fully into this productive mode where you only focus on work and numbers and productiveness. And when you're in that state, you mostly enter a loop that we mentioned before, which means you will never really think or even explore your existence, or not even fully explore your existence at all. This is the other side of the spectrum, I would say. One side is freedom that we have already discussed, and the other extreme part of this spectrum is if you are fully stressed out and if you work on something the whole time and if you feel like you have no other way of doing it, like there is no escape to this, you have to finish this to get your paycheck and pay your bills and so on. You never really think about yourself or your like spiritual being. You're only thinking about your mortgage and your bills and to put food on the table. It's very hard. This is one aspect, one element of our modern lifestyles. You can also say that we get less vitamin D because we're in boxes the whole time, in offices, in houses, in apartments. We don't go out as much. And our diets are also worse because we eat so much more sugar, and our sleeping rhythm are out of hand most of the times because we either have to wake up too early for our jobs or we wake up too late because we are free and we don't have the natural daily rhythm that will keep us having the same waking hours and the same bedtime. The food we eat, the water we drink, the way we sleep, barely any physical work because most of us work in offices and they don't do any agricultural work that our ancestors did, or any hunting, which is off the charts for a very long time already. So basically your lifestyle, your modern life that you've been given without really having any choice is like a barrier. It's like a shield to your natural state, you could say, because you've not evolved to be this way. You've not been evolving for thousands of years to be stressing at a random office job on a random Tuesday, and then on a Wednesday, and then on a Thursday, and on a Friday, and then again on a Monday. So you've not been built like this. You've been built to hunt then catch the prey, make a fire, eat it, and kind of chill and walk around and actually explore your existence. This was the moment when we were exploring our existence the most. But also, again, your brain, even back then, was centered around survival, which means our ancestors that were hunting around and running around with full stomachs eventually were not only like doing art and writing or whatever, they were also kind of being curious about their environment, and they were looking where the prey might hide. So, in other words, they were also very cautious, and they were not just relaxed, and they were not smoking a J and walking around the forest. I mean, some were doing that to some extent, but it was not all of the time, which means even back then we were not truly fully exploring our existence. But now, what I wanted to say is that we have the opportunity. We don't have any predators, and we can buy pretty much endless amounts of foods whenever we want it. So we have the option to do that. But our brains are just blocking us, and our modern lifestyle is making it even worse. So to this existential questions, there are many answers, of course, but I feel like the biggest one is our evolution and the way we are programmed. You could say we're just nerfed, and we're not let to fully explore our existence. I feel like the only way humans can truly fully explore their existence is by like doing shrooms or something, taking some weird drug that would allow us to get into this weird headspace, because any other way, it's like your software will automatically stop it halfway through, or you will never truly be able to do that because there will be so many blocks, so many roadblocks. You'll just bump into it and eventually you'll snap out of it. But if you do some weird drugs that some people do, people report feeling like they're reborn, or they feel like they've been somewhere else that they've never been before. I feel like the reason behind this might be that they enter this state where they can finally fully explore their existence, and they actually understand how creative, how intelligent, how wonderful our brains and our system is. Our mind is just a Pandora's box that eventually needs to be opened and seen what's inside of it. And I'm not suggesting that you should try it, but it seems like that is the only way that you can go around all of the evolutionary stoppages that are not letting you do it. So evolutionary reasons, weight of freedom, ego, identity, modern lifestyles. Those five, I think, are the biggest reasons why we cannot fully explore our existence. And it seems like there would not be a time soon that we will be able to do that. Because again, even if we wanted to, even if we put ourselves and breed a child in a perfect atmosphere, in a perfect environment where that child can like fully explore their existence, even then it would not be possible, because when the lights, for example, would be turned off at night, he will think about maybe in the other room there is somebody like lurking or whatever, just because his brain is wired that way. His brain is wired to detect any kind of danger and feel alert to it, which is just the uninevitable. But for sure, that child will be able to like explore more as he grows up and becomes more intelligent. He'll be able to explore more of his existence than we are in our daily lives, with so many distractions and so many obligations and all kinds of responsibilities that we have to care about without really ever agreeing to it. And maybe you can like meditate and try to be more mindful and try to live a slower life, and that way you will probably be able to like feel and squeeze the juice out of life more than the average person, the average Joe on the street that you meet on a daily basis. But then again, how much can you push it? I don't know. I find myself asking this question a lot because sometimes I feel stuck in a loop. I feel stuck in a routine, and eventually I feel a nick. I don't like the way I live. I don't like my routine. So I'm like, okay, I need to change something up. But this is the exact moment where it kind of snaps, where I understand that I've been living into this loop that I've never really truly escaped. I'm just changing some things, but I'm never really off of it. I'm never really free of that routine. I wake up and I brush my teeth. For example, that is already the start of the routine that I'm never out of. At night, I come back to the same house and I search for the same bed. That is also part of the routine. So I'm never truly free. I've never broken free from certain things in my routine. And this goes on for everybody on this planet. Even if it's minimal, everybody has some part of routine in his life that he hasn't changed, or he just doesn't want to because it benefits him. But then of course it benefits us. So many things in our life, so many routine parts of our day benefit us, so you can't really blame them for existing or being part of our day-to-day life, because they're simply good. Tell me down below what you think. This was a philosophical one, very interesting. I was not really in mood to film a video right now, honestly, but just because I had this interesting idea on my mind, I was like, okay, I have to talk about this. So I'll catch you in the next one, guys.